Royal Rumble match.
This is what we've all been waiting for.
30 men and 30 women battling for the ultimate prize, a championship opportunity in the main event at WrestleMania. WWE Hall of Famer Pat Patterson's vision in 1988 created a legacy of some of the most iconic moments in sports entertainment history.
Hogan of the Warrior, 1-on-1. AJ Styles is here. Finally, The Rock is going to WrestleMania.
You think you know me?
You gotta be kidding me. It's been 9 long years. Edge is back.
Since its inception, there have been 1,190 entrants into the Royal Rumble match, but only 31 individuals can say they've won.
John Cena, Batista, Becky Lynch, Triple H, Undertaker.
This incredibly rare achievement has propelled 19 superstars to win a world championship at WrestleMania, including 5 of the last 6 Rumble winners. While victory at an early number is improbable, it's not impossible.
Wait a minute! One foot! The Royal Rumble!
And last year, Edge entered at number 1
Over 58 minutes in this match.
and won it all. But not everyone can survive.
Wait, 1 second! No reuse, Santino!
Some struggle to even get in the ring.
Oh my God! What the heck? What did I just? I can't believe what I just saw.
While others defy the laws of physics to avoid elimination.
What a move! Kingston's a Rumble highlight reel.
Speaking of highlight reels, Kane has competed in a record 18 Rumble matches where the Big Red Machine decimated his opponents with a record 45 total eliminations. But no one conquered a single Rumble quite like Brock Lesnar, who accumulated a record 13 eliminations in one match. And to make this even more of an unfathomable achievement, the Beast vanquished these 13 superstars consecutively. This year, the 35th annual Royal Rumble event will be unlike any other, featuring a lineup of Royal Rumble All-Stars. The 2022 edition is emanating live from St. Louis, Missouri, the same city where Sheamus won the Royal Rumble in 2012. In 2006, Rey Mysterio set the endurance record in a traditional 30-man Royal Rumble match, surviving 62 minutes, 12 seconds to claim a victory. Last year, Bianca Belair spent the longest time in the Women's Royal Rumble match, lasting a record-breaking 57 minutes and 12 seconds to win it all. Will the EST win her second straight Rumble? If she does, she'll join Hall of Famers Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold Steve Austin as the only back-to-back Royal Rumble winners, a feat that hasn't been accomplished in 24 years. 8 superstars have won the Royal Rumble twice, but only one man has won 3 times.
Oh, hell yeah!
There's no telling what will happen at this year's Royal Rumble event, as the competition contains more variety than ever. With 60 superstars, including 21 former world champions, 5 former Royal Rumble match winners, 3 WWE Hall of Famers, star of Jackass Forever Johnny Knoxville, and an infinite number of surprises, it's truly anyone's game.
Star 30 days, legends created. What an atmosphere this is tonight!
The only thing for certain,
The road to WrestleMania starts now.
And welcome everybody to the Royal Rumble prediction and preview show. As we are here today, we are going to be joined by a couple of great guests, that being mi hermano, Mr. Tampa Tones, number 1, and then number 2, Marcel. He's joining us, and we thank him at KC4L Wrestling Take. So he has a really good YouTube channel. Tampa Tones has one for his Buccaneers. Just great podcasters and great people who are going to help us build the road to WrestleMania by starting off with the Royal Rumble. And man, oh man, there's going to be a lot to talk about. Not only are we going to talk about, some statistics like A lot of people don't always look back on history. We're going to give you our winners. We're going to give you surprise entrants, and we're going to really bring the noise. This Royal Rumble will be in Texas this weekend at the Alamo Dome. And it's actually been there a few times. But for people that, want to do a little bit of history lesson right here, we got the first Royal Rumble winner ever in 1988. Mr. Jim Duggan joined us. And also in 1989, the second one was won by Big John Studd. And the third one in 90, yours truly, Mr. Hulk Hogan. If you want to fast forward all the way to the past few winners, it's mostly been legends, but they've won it in their own respective ways. Last year was Brock Lesnar. Year before that, Edge. 2020, we had Drew McIntyre. 2019, we had Seth Rollins. Greatest Royal Rumble, if you want to throw that in, Braun Strowman. But going back, that is the last 5 winners. Now you might be asking yourself, well, who's won the most Royal Rumbles of all time? Who's been the most runner-up? Stone Cold Steve Austin is the Royal Rumble leader. He is at 3. And then there's a decent amount at 2, including the names of Hulk Hogan again, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Edge. So there you have it there. Also, before we bring on a couple of guesses, we already had people enter in the room, is we're going to be talking about the spots, winners by the entry number themselves. For example, the spot number 30 has won 4 Royal Rumbles. Spot number 27 has won 4 Royal Rumbles. And in third place, tied for third with number 24, believe it or not, is the number 1 spot. It has been won 3 times from that spot. And the last one just goes back to 2021. So you could win from any spot, anytime, any place, anywhere. And not to mention who survived the longest in these Royal Rumbles. Well, Daniel Bryan in 2018 at the Greatest Royal Rumble did it for an hour and 16 minutes. Rey Mysterio, my most famously noted one, in 2006 went over an hour. Other people to go over an hour in the ring: Chris Benoit, Bob Backlund, Triple H, Chris Jericho, and Ric Flair. So, I mean, there's just some statistics for you guys to bring everything in. And as we go here, this is my favorite event, besides probably WrestleMania, and maybe give me a Money in the Bank match. But before I get any further, and I keep talking about what I'm liking here and all that, Marcel, how the heck we doing? And thank you for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, Joe? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm getting excited for this Rumble. Cleve and I yesterday, we were able to talk. I dropped out a podcast. He gave his predictions there, and I'm just so happy that you and Tampa Tones are able to join me today. And thank you for that.
Oh, no problem, man. I appreciate the invite. It's been a long time coming. I say last time I was on was like last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and that is on me, and that is way too long for that to be the case. Real quickly before Tones jumps on and we get fully into the Rumble, I know you did a great job on your channel, talking about Jay Briscoe, rest in peace. That was a very sad thing that we came across last week in wrestling. Talked about it on the pod, but appreciate what you did on that front, and maybe just explain a little bit about Mr. Jay Briscoe.
Well, like I said, I really didn't get introduced to him until like around 2016, 2017. And then I really didn't keep up with Ring of Honor, but I thank Tony Khan for at least trying to bring him in. And the 3 trilogy tag team matches that we got between them and the FTR is by far the greatest trilogy of tag team matches I've ever seen. And it's just unfortunate that it took this young man passing for WB to actually allow Tony Khan to allow his brother to be on Dynamite tonight. But I've just adored the young man, and him and his brother, they were great. Like whatever they did, they put everything into it. And like I said, tonight on Dynamite, Tony Khan is going to allow Mark and I believe Jay Lethal, they're going to be going against one another. And so we're going to get like a little tribute to them and everything. So,
No, that's going to be awesome. I'm glad you brought that up because we're already coming up to 6 o'clock Central Time, so 7 o'clock Central Time for us. AEW is on, and I'm happy we got that match. It should have automatically happened. Shouldn't have had to jump through hoops to get it, but whatever happened, we got there. Just for the people out there who don't know a lot about Jay Briscoe, his real name is I might mispronounce this, but Jamin Pugh.
Yes.
He was a 6-man tag team champions and record-breaking 13-time ROH World Tag Team Champion. He was also a two-time ROH World Champion. So, I mean, for those people that don't know a lot about ROH, or like me and you who came to grow on the scenes maybe a little bit later in the years, that's huge accomplishments right there. So,
absolutely.
And at one time, ROH, before AEW was a thing, ROH was the company that was up on the rise, and Jay Briscoe and his brother really let that happen. So, if you haven't, I always tell people go on YouTube, check out their matches, their videos. There's a lot that you can cover because these guys not only could fly in the ring, but they also had mic skills. So, enjoy their content. Go check them out wherever you can. And I'll be definitely tuning into AEW tonight to see his brother, honor him in the best way we can. And that's to talk about him and to, just get him on television and get him on our channel. So thank you for that. And, I didn't want to get into Royal Rumble until we were able to at least talk on that at all. But besides all that, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just been working, just spending time with the family and, just thankful for life. You know what I'm saying? Right now we got, I don't know, because you right next door, we got a little bit of snow right now. So, but we making it though. We making it.
It has not been fun to deal with, but like you said, we're making it. And I really appreciate, again, you taking the time, and same with Tones, because, we all got things going on outside of life, but sometimes it's fun. It's just a little bit to talk about wrestling and get things going. First I'm going to ask you this before I bring in Tones here completely. What is your vibe getting towards this Rumble? How you feeling about it? And is this one of your favorite events in wrestling?
You know what, man? Like I said, when it comes to WWE, I'm kind of mixed. I kind of hang in and, I try to pay attention. I might not watch everything that's going on, but I usually come in around this time when it's WrestleMania season. And so, like, when it came to the Royal Rumble, I really wasn't paying attention because I fell out. I want to say like early 2000s, I kind of fell out. So I was like, I missed like the last little bit of the Attitude Era and the very beginning of the Ruthless Aggression Era. So I came in like early 2005, right before John Cena and Batista got big. And so ever since then, I've been peeping everything. And usually this is the time when WWE started getting big and started getting hot. So a lot of people start paying attention, whatnot. But with all the drama going on with Vince McMahon and all that stuff, I still feel like this could possibly be one of you might say this might be a make or break season for WWE altogether, but I'm kind of hyped because of how things have been turned out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. And we all know that obviously Vince McMahon is lurking again in the backgrounds, but at least for now, the direction since Triple H has taken over creative and all the reports we got, there's been a lot of good things happening. Even if there isn't always good things happening behind the scenes, we're going to be bringing in past stars. You mentioned John Cena. Hopefully we get to see him. There's going to be plenty of people. Cody Rhodes already announced he's going to be in the Rumble. We'll talk about the 15 entrants that are already there. Mm-hmm. We could be seeing people like Brock Lesnar, who hasn't fully made his name available yet in the Rumble. We could be looking at, everyone speculates The Rock, but he has a busy schedule. There's so many surprise entrants. Lita and Trish Stratus on the women's side. We're going to be obviously talking about the woman, but it just brings a lot of joy to people. And this is one event that just gets me. Tones, how we doing, man? Are you? Oh, yes, right on cue. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Tampa Tones. I went through a little history. I played a little preview show for some people. Talked a little history about longest in the ring. Went through the winners. The most winners, that being Stone Cold. Talked about a couple of things. When you think Royal Rumble, what goes through your mind and how we doing?
Good. Hope you gentlemen are doing well. Marcel, it's been a while. Hope all is well with you, brother, and hope you're all doing safe and staying dry and staying inside. Quite frankly, right about now, it's coming down harder than it has
Yeah,
anytime
yeah,
this
I'm doing.
winter.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, man. I'll cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother.
Oh no, it's good to see you as well, Tony. Like I said, I'm doing well out here in Chicago and everything, you know. So, like I said, we getting ready for this so-called Royal Rumble. Here we go.
We're going through it all. Then
Yes,
you're
sir.
in Chicago. We're right next to you, so I feel that, brother. I'm kind of like you. I heat up during WrestleMania season. My viewership does in terms of wrestling. So right now is my sweet spot. And in terms of the Rumble, when I think Royal Rumble, I think eliminations, baby. I'm thinking who's the big guy that's going to go in there and just take care of business, clean house. We've seen Kane back in the day, Mark Henry back in the day, Great Khali back in the day. These behemoths went in there and put on a show with all the people they would eliminate. So I'm wondering who's going to step up and be that guy for the WWE this year. We know they have Braun Strowman. We know they got some other big guys as well. They don't have that quite terrifying big man figure like a Mark Henry, like a Big Show, like a Great Khali, like a Kane, in my opinion. So I think they really need someone to fill that need to be the enforcer of the Rumble. I know they've tried to have Strowman do it before, and he's a huge, big guy, but he's still a step below those other guys in terms of bigness, giganticness, monsterness, I feel like. I'm interested to see if he takes on that role or somebody else takes on that role for the WWE this year.
Yeah, and the big guys is a part of it, right? And obviously, one of our two longest Royal Rumble entrants were Daniel Bryan and Rey Mysterio. So we're going with the small men when it comes to the most stamina. A couple of more statistics I want to share before we get into predictions and break down the matches. The longest cumulative time over Royal Rumble history. You know what? We'll play a little guessing game at first, guys. We're going to go with the top three. Now, two of them are active WWE stars. They'll be legends. They'll be Hall of Famers. They're still a little bit in their prime, but a little bit getting towards the end. And then another guy who's number one is in AEW. Does anybody want to take any guesses at who might have the most amount of time accumulated in the Royal Rumble?
Oh, is it Brian?
You're going Daniel Bryan?
Mm-hmm.
Tones, any guesses off the bat that jump out to you?
I would think Bryan, and if not him, I would say Jericho and Punk as runner-ups.
Jericho is the longest cumulative time in Royal Rumble history at 4 hours, 59 minutes, and 33 seconds.
I'm sorry. I thought you asked. I'm not paying attention. I thought you asked for longest time spent in a Rumble.
Yeah, and if we're going back to that, Daniel Bryan was number one at the greatest Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And Rey Mysterio is number two. So on that note, very correct.
But you talk about all around between all
the Royal
Rumbles. Okay.
Yeah, and sorry, I might have misspoke. When we go back to the longest time for one Rumble, it was indeed Daniel Bryan. That was correct, Marcel. And number two was Rey Mysterio. Longest time in the ring for all Rumbles together, we got Jericho 1, Randy Orton 2, and Rey Mysterio 3. Those are the three longest. Now, if you want to go on the opposite side of things, some people have lasted less than 2 seconds, believe it or not. Sheamus was one of those in 2018.
Santino Marella, I want to say.
1.9 seconds.
Titus O'Neil, right?
Santino Marella is the leader at 1.9 seconds in 2009. No Way Jose had 2 seconds in 2019. Tones, Titus O'Neil, you mentioned, had 4 seconds.
That was after he tripped, I want to say, at the greatest Royal Rumble. Hooah!
Shout out to him there. This is a little fun. Let's keep it going for a minute. Now we're going to talk most eliminations in a single Royal Rumble. So just one Rumble. And we're going to throw out the greatest Royal Rumble because that was 50 men. That was Braun Strowman.
I was going to say it was Kane, but then Strowman broke Kane's record because of the greatest Royal Rumble.
Well, Kane has the most eliminations in all Rumbles together. But when it comes to most eliminations in a single Rumble, Brock Lesnar is tied with Braun Strowman at 13, just going back to 2020 right now.
Yeah.
So and I remember that. I think Brock Lesnar entered number one, and he just kept throwing people out just left and right. And it was like, What's going on here?
Wasn't that a kind of more chillaxed Rumble? It was like a lot of one-on-one action and whatnot.
A lot of it was. I remember Keith Lee faced Brock one-on-one. Drew McIntyre was the one to eliminate him and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to highest, man, there's just so many statistics. We can go through them all day. I probably shouldn't keep on it, but total eliminations. Tones, you said it right. At number 1 is Kane. Number 2 and 3 are Hall of Famers who are retired, but they still deal with the WWE in different ways. These guys were people we grew up with, admiring and loving. In fact, they were in a heated rivalry that included the creative leader of WWE right now, that being Triple H. Do we want to take a guess at who these two names are in the most eliminations after Mr. Kane?
I'm going to assume one is Michaels.
Correct. He is number 2. Kane had 46 eliminations. Shawn Michaels is second at 41.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, Tones, you want to take a guess at number 3?
Undertaker.
Oh, great. That is the number 3 guy at 40. So those are the only 3 men to get over 40 eliminations in their career to this point. People that could get there: Braun Strowman at 36, Roman Reigns at 32, Brock Lesnar 29, Randy Orton 29, but all the other people are retired or will only make a little bit of an appearance. But we didn't come here to always talk the past. I just thought it was fun to, get a little bit of that history out there, because I do love when the Rumble starts, they go through a 5-minute preview show and they'll give you all this great info. But why wait when you could have it right now? Looking at the Royal Rumble, we're going to have the men's Rumble, obviously, 30 people. Women's Rumble, 30 people. There's 3 single matches then that will conclude the entire thing. Obviously, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens will be for the undisputed title. Then we're going to have Bianca Belair take on Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. And then we're going to have Bray Wyatt take on LA Knight in what will be the first this dark match. It could go either way. I
have no idea what the clown we get. I'm serious. I don't even know. I'm just gonna watch
because look,
no idea.
You could look, and I like how you kind of say that, because I want to ask you guys first, what's your most looking forward to singles match out of those 3? But number 2, and the reason I can say it goes either way is because Bray Wyatt does a lot of good things. But for example, when he went against Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match and they brought in that red light, a lot of hate was towards that match. They didn't like the way it was set up. They didn't like the way things were focused. And for 2 great stars in Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt, a lot of people were down on that match overall. That being said, Bray Wyatt does a lot of great things when it comes to the dark. His story's leaking out slowly. We have Uncle Howdy involved. There's a lot that's being built into him right now. Marcel, I'll start with you and jump to Tones. Out of those 3 singles matches, which one are you most looking forward to, and which one are you least looking forward to?
Least would probably be Bianca and Alexa, and then most is more than likely Roman and Kevin Owens. And the reason why I'm paying close attention to what Sammy's gonna do, because that's what my favorite storyline is going out of all wrestling. So that's my call right there.
And I like where you said that, because the trial I thought was just classic on Monday. I saw you tweeting about it too. We were on the same page, loving that. They just bring everything together over such a long time. WWE sometimes struggles with the long-term storytelling, and I really think they hit it right on the head with this. And I'm glad you put that number 1, because right off the bat, a lot of people who wouldn't put that 1 would say, hey, we already know who's going to win. So why do we want – because there's so much more to the story than who wins and loses.
That's right.
And it's only going to grow from there. So I like where your head's at. Tones, out of the 3 singles matches, what's your thumbs up and what's your thumbs down?
My thumbs up is the Roman KO match. I'm looking forward to that one. I think that KO has done a nice job of building his character after WWE didn't treat him the best at some points in time. I think that he easily could have been one of those guys who fled to AEW or elsewhere, but yet he stuck around with WWE, and now you see it paying off for the big guy, much deservingly so. When he speaks on the mic, he puts his heart into it. When he wrestles in the ring, he puts his heart into it. And the storyline going on right now with him and his former best friend Sami Zayn, you infuse a bloodline and the high-end Roman Reigns, the other Samoans like the Usos, and then you got the one I forget his
Solo
name.
Sikoa.
Yep, Solo. And then you got Paul Heyman, the man behind it all. It's quite the squad over there. So I'm really intrigued to see what happens. That's been a phenomenal storyline. I think a lot of people didn't think the Sami Zayn bloodline storyline would be this long. I think they thought it'd be a month, 2 month, 3 month maybe thing, but we're at the point where we're almost at 8, 9, 10 months now of Sami Zayn being an honorary Uso. And, you know, he keeps fitting in more and more seemingly like gloves. So I'm ready for him to turn his back on them, and I'm ready for him to join Kevin Owens. To me, that's what's going to happen. After you've seen a great trial on Monday night, them presenting evidence why Sami Zayn is a good guy, I think he's going to do what he does best, turn heel. And I think he's going to join Kevin Owens on that side of the spectrum perhaps sooner, or not maybe turn heel, maybe just turn like he's tired of the bullshit. You know, he's caught up, he's fed up, he don't want to deal with that no more. So right now, I guess I don't know what you'd be calling it, turning face, turning heel, or just turning his back on the Usos. But regardless, I'm looking forward to that one. I think this dark match is stupid sounding. I think it's going to be a terrible match. I'm not looking forward to it at all. I mean, let's call it like we see it. Right? If it's going to be a dark match, that means that no one's going to be able to see the match, right?
Yep.
And if people could see the match, then it's not a dark match. So I'm really confused on the whole concept. Are they going to hand, you know, like 3D movies hand out 3D glasses? Are they going to hand out night vision goggles to the crowd, or are they going to have some certain type of lens they play it through on Peacock? I just don't get it. And honestly, I know a lot of people like The Fiend. A lot of people like this Night Guy or Max Dupree, whatever the heck his name is. But I can't get behind the storyline in this match right now. I'm sorry. It's just something about a dark match that sounds off to me.
The only and I'm going to comment on both your because you made two really good points. We'll start with the latter. The only reason I'm not fully going as far as you yet is because I think Bray Wyatt and Triple H are fully behind the creative of this match versus Vince McMahon, who used to be fully in control of Wyatt's matches. Now, it could still turn out bad. That being said, I just really hope they wouldn't try this match and it's just an epic flop, because we've seen it in WWE and AEW. In WWE, we saw it with the red light. In AEW, we saw it with the fake bomb that was supposed to go off. That totally so we've seen fizzle outs go very poorly, and to your point, it could easily go that direction. To your Sami Zayn point, and to both of your great points on him, I have a roommate who does not like wrestling at all, but he loves Sami Zayn whenever I turn on the screen. He says if that's one person I'm going to support and get a shirt of, it would be him. So Sami Zayn has taken this whole bloodline thing and spun it into, I won't say a completely different direction, but they totally didn't plan on it going this long, as you alluded to.
No, it wasn't.
Not at all. I mean, when you see the sales, when you see them chanting Sammy in the stands, guys, how do you shut it down? You can't. Now we're getting towards all good things come to an end, but if so, Tones, you kind of think it's at the Rumble. Do you guys? Is it for sure happening at the Rumble then? Are we finally getting our turn, or will they take it another step after that? Because remember, even though Roman said he's not guilty, he said for now.
Right.
So who knows how long that will last?
Y'all, let me tell y'all something. So, do y'all remember going into WrestleMania 35? We know what the WWE Championship title picture was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan.
Yep,
Mustafa,
we ran that Mania.
Right, Mustafa got injured. So then they decided to have this battle, what was a gauntlet match. And somehow, some way, Kofi just stepped in and he caught fire. And so everybody was watching, and next thing you know, everybody started chanting Kofi May. I said, and I was sitting up and saying to myself, like, hold up. And it just kept going. I said, oh man, I said, is it a possibility we might get Kofi versus Bryan?
Yeah.
And the rest is history. Now, fast forward to where we are right now. Unfortunately, Cody got injured. So that put him out the picture, the title picture, because that's exactly what it was supposed to be hit.
Yep.
Sammy thing was not supposed to be this long. It was supposed to be like a 1-2 thing and disappear. But Sammy done messed around and got himself so over. It just feels, for me, like the final payout should be Sammy versus Roman going to the WrestleMania on night 2 for the Universal Championship.
Wow.
That's just how I feel. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, and to back up before I answer how I feel about it, the comparison with Kofi Mania is a great point. Tones and I were there. And the pop for Kofi when he won was something I've never seen before.
I saw it on TV. I saw it. Yes.
It gave me the goosebumps of the feel-good moment. Tones, I don't know if you would say any different, but I think that could have been the loudest cheer of the night when Kofi Mania won at 35.
Oh, no doubt. And we've seen, sorry, I'm trying to do something with my camera here quick, but no doubt. And we've seen it time and time again in wrestling where these type of storylines to me are the best when they take an underdog, a guy like a Kofi Kingston, a guy like a Daniel Bryan before. If you guys remember when he was on NXT way back in the day, you looked at that guy, you laughed, and you said this guy will never make it, or at least the way they portrayed him to be. But at the end of the day, they were two of the best stars of our lifetime, Kofi and Daniel Bryan, in terms of in-ring momentum, the crowd getting behind him. You had the Yes Movement. You had Kofi just literally having the biggest pop I've ever been attested to at WrestleMania. And then you have Sami Zayn right now, a guy who once everyone hated. They tried to do that crazy Bobby Lashley and his sister storyline. And, they really tried to make Sami, like I said about Kevin Owens earlier, they tried to make Sami do a lot of crazy things in his time in the WWE. Fans turn against him and whatnot. Now, that's where I think him and Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston differentiate just a little bit, because Kofi was always, I know he got the short end of the stick a lot, but he was always at least well respected. All the fans always liked Kofi. No one ever hated on Kofi. Daniel Bryan, outside outside the wooden championship belt, same thing with him. Sami Zayn has been hated for at least 80 to 90% of his WWE career, I would say, the time he spent in NXT, the time he spent building his way to the top. So the fact that the crowd's been not only behind him this long, but it's come to the boiling point of they'd almost choose him over the bloodline in terms of who they'd rather see succeed and prosper at this point, tells you all you need to know about the storyline itself. It's right up there with Kofi. It's right up there with Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever the hell you want to call him. It's right up there with all of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes next.
Yeah, and before I get into your second point, Marsan, if he gets to Mania, great background by you and Tones. I like your picture when you do fade out. It's with the Mr. Great Kurt Angle, who gave me a Christmas cameo shout out. Oh, it's true. It's damn true. So anyways, getting back to it though, my thing is this, if The Rock cannot make it, and I don't know if they're just trying to hide it right now or he's truly not going to be ready for Mania, I would like the Sami Zayn story because of two things. It makes the most sense, and the pop for a Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns main event. Oh my goodness, you're gonna have Sammy chants. You're gonna have ones in the air. The place will be going nuts. And even though everyone loves Roman's new character compared to what was pushed as of him as a face, everyone's gonna be on Sami Zayn's team. The shirts in the crowd would be going crazy. So I am with you. I still, even if it's in the future, I just want to see The Rock cap this whole thing off at some point. Because to me, the full circle story, rather you've been following WWE, you watch Young Rock, or you read the tea leaves, he does end up having a match against Roman Reigns and this championship in the family. To me, that would be the best way for everything to come full circle. But if he's not ready, no need to push the issue. Sami Zayn in there. Listen, you got 2 nights of Mania. We have 2 belts. They're going to break those up sooner or later, whether it's Elimination Chamber. If people actually already noticed, the tag team titles, Triple H did a good job of making sure Raw and SmackDown, when they fight on those shows, those are the titles they now fight for instead of fighting for both. So once they can get into breaking up the Universal and WWE title, which needs to happen,
yes,
especially when you have 2 nights of WrestleMania, how could you have two nights and only have one main belt? That's a completely different story, but they need to figure that whole thing out. But I would not mind that. Tones, before we get on to Women's Rumble, what is your thoughts on if it was Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
Not a bad backup alternative. The thing with that is we've seen some guys unfairly get crushed in the big spotlight when they finally made it against some pulverizing figure. I mean, you've seen some guys lose in drastic fashion, and I hope that when it happened with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. So that's the only thing. It would be hard for me to imagine, Sami Zayn realistically lasting that long with Roman. So I think they're going to have to get creative. It's definitely doable. It's definitely pull offable, and they could do it, and it could be a great match. But it's going to be hard to sell the fans, hey, Sammy against Roman, some trickery would need to happen if you want Sammy to win. And they better not have a Roman squash. That's all I would say about that. To me,
like when it was Lesnar versus Kofi and we got that squash.
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking of exactly. Thank you. When Kofi got squashed like that was the most unwanting moment in WWE history, and it was very uncomfortable. And I
on
hope
national TV.
On national damn television, they broke our hearts like that. So that's my only problem is tread lightly. I think it would be great. I think it has the optics and chance to be fantastic. But at the end of the day, if they think twice about doing what they did with Kofi and Brock, with Roman and Sammy, I don't care the scenario, the situation. Sammy could have a broken neck and be trotted out there. He better not lose in a squash. If that were the case, I think it's a good backup plan, though, if they execute it correctly.
Because most people got Cody winning the Royal Rumble. Like, I mean, most people. Like I said, I decided to go with Sammy. That's my choice. But Cody is the odds-on favorite because of what is this video packages they doing every 5 seconds. I was like, first of all, like, why do they keep doing that? I'm like, I didn't need to see Cody until the Royal Rumble. That's why I wish they would kept it, even though people know he was coming back. But just don't say nothing until he comes back. Then, after he comes back, then you could be showing all the video packages that they've been doing.
And that's why I kind of.
And to add on, could I add on something really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think Sami Zayn winning would be fantastic as well. I think that's a great idea, winning the Rumble. Like, imagine that. Like, you could have him almost, hey, man, Roman, I'll roll over. I won the Rumble. I'm going to roll over for you. I'm not going to challenge you for one of these belts. Like, the Bloodline could even help him win the Rumble. And then before you know it, Sami Zayn, something could happen between the Bloodline and Sami Zayn where something snaps in his head, or it could become like everyone's just expecting him to roll over, lay down, count to 3, and then he like low blows Roman Reigns before the match starts. Something wild, but they have a lot. They have a lot of creatives to get behind that. I'd rather have Sami Zayn win myself because I like unpredictability, and that'd be a lot more unpredictable.
See, that's what I believe it's not going to be the main event, but the match between Roman and KO, I think it's going to be something very sinister that's going to happen in that match. And whatever happens in that match, it's going to cause Sammy to he won't be right in there after whatever happens, because we know Roman's winning. It's how he's going to win. That's what I got. That's what I feel is going to happen.
Yeah, and to the point of Cody Rhodes is too predictable, that is fully correct because of these video package. I almost think if they're kind of maybe going to swerve us now, and that's why I think we need the titles to break up, because
yes,
let's say at Elimination Chamber, Roman could lose a title and not fully be victimized. Maybe you have a Seth Rollins win it, and then you could put Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in a championship match for let's say the WWE title.
Yep.
And then you can go different with the Universal, because like you said, I don't mind the video. I'm one of the biggest Cody Rhodes fans right now, more than anything. But with these video packages and everything, it almost seems like it's too easy. Like we'll start with the men's Rumble. Like I'm going with Cody Rhodes 2 right now as the winner, but it's this because it's the safe pick and it's the easy pick.
Yep.
But it's now if he wins, I'm not going to say there will be disappointment, but to me, there's a little bit of lust on it because of how much it's being pushed in a sense.
Yeah.
So I agree with that as well. It's just no one likes when things get pushed too much in wrestling.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. And, like I said, I would love to see him win. I would love to see him bring home the gold, but you could get around other ways of doing it. There's going to be so many, opportunities and chances as we're still a few months away from that happening. So, okay, if I say Cody Rhodes, even though I'm not fully happy about that choice, I guess if I had to give another name, and right now, let me actually bring up who else is in the 15 people who are fully in the men's rumble, as is our Omos, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Phantasmo, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Baron Corbin, Austin Theory, Kofi Kingston, Gunther, Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Karrion Kross. If I had to go out on a limb outside of Cody Rhodes with the names that were just given, it's tough because you got to think about people and their situations. I mean, Seth Rollins could win it, but he's already won it as well. I guess that would make sense if Seth Rollins were going to be a winner. It wouldn't be my first choice. This isn't who I like. This is just who I think. If I was going with who I like, I'd probably go to, more someone who would just come out of nowhere and deserve it. Like, I personally wouldn't mind if a Ricochet or a Gunther had a chance to come down in this thing, because those two men in the ring are absolutely phenomenal. But it's not about what we want. It's about what we think. And we got Sami Zayn as an answer, Cody Rhodes. Tones, where are you going in terms of the men's Royal Rumble match as a winner?
I mean, I think those are the two obvious choices, the two answers right now, where if you had to predict this thing at all, I think 60% would say Rhodes, 30% would probably say Sami Zayn, somewhere around there. I'm going to go a little different route. I'm just going to shake things up a little bit, and I know it's not going to be the most common of choices or whatnot, but what if a little Runch got thrown in, and somehow I don't know if he's going to be in the Rumble, but what if somehow I'm forgetting the young Uso, the young Bloodline member. What if he back?
Solo
What
Sikoa.
what would the Bloodline do if Solo somehow wins all of a sudden, or an Uso wins all of a sudden? What if another member of the Bloodline, not named Sami Zayn, wins? We've seen Roman had his run-ins with the Usos before during their storyline. We've seen it with Sammy now. So what if they just throw us in a complete runch and have a member of the Bloodline win who is not one of those guys? That would be interesting to me, but I don't think that's going to happen. So if I'm going with one guy as well, I'm going to go with, I'll throw a curveball out there. I'll say The Rock. Give me The Rock. I'll say The Rock comes back and wins the Rumble.
Hey, and if he shows up, I mean, it's not a bad guess. What are your percentage chances? Start with you, Marcel. What do you think The Rock shows up at this event at all?
They've been trying to throw us off like crazy. Did y'all see the report? They said now they might be talking about having Stone Cold face Roman. I said, y'all, come on, y'all. They do this every time when it's WrestleMania season. We get all kind of crazy reports. So I'm like, no. And then they just released some new merch, but The Rock's his logo is on it. They just put new Rock merch out there. I said, why would y'all start putting Rock merch out if he ain't showing up? Then he said, oh, The Rock is not in wrestling form. He's not wrestling weight ready. And I said, okay, yeah, they just throwing us off. So I'm like 90% sure he pulling up.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The merch, Tones, we talked about it over the past couple of weeks. We saw that going up, and it makes me laugh. They're trying to throw like a curve, and maybe it is, but they're saying The Rock's not in ring shape. I don't care what they say about ring shape. That man is in the greatest shape out of many,
Come on,
many,
now.
many.
He just
many.
did a movie. I mean,
And Stone Cold Steve Austin, to your point, now, did he do great last year in WrestleMania? Yes, I thought that was awesome. They got creative with him, Vince McMahon, Pat McAfee. They had him do the match with KO all over the stadium because his in-ring isn't as good as, just him throwing shots, drinking beers. But that was the pinnacle of it. I don't know how, even though he is a legend, it doesn't have the same oomph as The Rock versus Roman Reigns. A, the family factor is not there. But B, I just think The Rock is in much better shape at this point in his career. So how believable would it be for Stone? I mean, I rather, if you're going to do that, you might as well have John Cena get another chance in it, because at least John Cena is involved in WWE here and there, and he's still in really, really good shape. But that is an interesting point to see where these matches, because they have to have a couple backups for everything. Nothing's going to be perfect. You never know when injuries are going to happen. For example, Randy Orton, we haven't heard much on him in a while. It didn't sound like his, surgery and his injuries were going well. Cody Rhodes, we are going to get back. And we'll talk about more surprises as we get on. But before we do surprises, does anybody go ahead?
Real quick to Marcel's point, with their hands getting caught in the cookie jar on the Rock, trying to pivot, trying to distract and whatnot. This happened to them with the Hardys. Remember, when they came back, they were supposed to be kept quiet, and then people pretty much, they made it too obvious that the Hardys were coming back, whether it was releasing hints, releasing merch, social media, subtitles. So everyone was like, oh, the Hardys are coming back. Then they tried to pivot at the last minute. They said, oh, the Hardys signed these independent contracts, blah, blah, blah. The Hardys won like these half crap titles in the independent circuit. And then like 2 days later, they showed up in the WWE. So it wouldn't be the first time that they had a legend return spoiled, and then they tried to throw a bunch of smoke and fluff in the face of viewers. But I think we're a little smarter than that right
now. Before we get to the woman's side of things, what do you guys think Alexa Bliss has any chance at beating Bianca Belair this Saturday? Now, she has some interesting things going on still with Bray Wyatt. Uncle Howdy show up a couple times. Do you guys see any way that Bliss wins this, or is Bianca going on to WrestleMania as the champ?
See, I was sold on Bianca winning, but the segment that we got on the Raw 30 episode, why the heck did they have Bianca not only go against Sonya Deville, but was talking with Charlotte? I said, what the heck does we already been down that road? Now it makes me think, well, nobody's expecting anybody to lose any championship on the Royal Rumble. Well,
right.
They might go ahead and throw us a curveball, and Alexa Bliss end up winning. So that means now she's going into WrestleMania with the Raw Women's Championship. So I guess they'll do Alexa versus Rhea. I don't know. I'm just throwing anything out there. So then that means you would have to throw Bianca into the Royal Rumble, which means she will win the Royal Rumble. Then she'll go on to face Charlotte. I'm just throwing that out there. But I could be wrong. You see what I'm saying? Because I was watching that. I said, why is she? Didn't make no sense to me. It did. But then that's why I just thought,
Raw 30 was great, but they screwed up with the women, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness!
Any
girls got messed up. I'm sorry, they really did.
No, they did. When it comes to women's legend, there wasn't enough. And actually, even the Bellas made a comment, which I don't really care about them. I'm not saying them as legend. I was talking more of the leaders, the Trish Stratus's, people of that nature. But it was really weird how they had Bianca, Sonya, and Charlotte. But I like where your head's at. And see, that's why we get a great mind like you on this show. Have her maybe lose a title, but win the Rumble, because don't forget, Bianca has taken out Becky
Three
Lynch.
of the horsewomen.
Took my words right out of my mouth. So what's leg number 4? Miss Charlotte Flair. So that's really great thought on that there. Tones, do you like where Marcel's head's at, or are you just saying, hey, let's keep it simple, Bianca's going to win this, and Alexa Bliss will continue her maddening streak with Bray Wyatt?
No, I like where Marcel's head's at, and it's this time a year for stuff like that. I'll tell you what, is Charlotte out of commission this weekend?
Yeah, she's not wrestling, no.
Yeah, I don't think, because what would be, I mean, Brock Lesnar showed up as a Rumble in the championship, but I don't think they're going to do that again. So I don't think so.
Yeah, all right. So that's that within itself tells me that they could be setting up a potential Charlotte Flair storyline, starting with the Rumble, if she's not perhaps factored into anything that night. So this winter, I don't know. I could see Bianca losing and then going into the Rumble and winning and challenging Flair. I could see that happening, and then Bliss running on with the belt or something. We've seen champions lose before and then enter in the Rumble at a later time as well. So I could see a plethora of things happening, but I think Bianca wins. If I'm being honest here, I do think Bianca wins, and I think that she straight up just almost dominates it when Bliss is in her normal state of mind. And we'll see, though. But I'm predicting a Bianca win.
And don't forget, before we give Tones and I the rest of our women's predictions here, as we got Bianca Belair on the slate for one. This pay-per-view is, again, Saturday, January 28th, 7 Eastern, 6 Central time start. So be on the look for all that with the pre-show. If you have Peacock, that's the easiest way you'll be able to find it, is their storylines and everything has been on, or I'm sorry, their pay-per-views and everything has been on there as of now. So do not forget, it is this Saturday. And also, if you want Cleve's predictions, because you're probably wondering, well, this is Cleve and Me. Where the heck is Cleve? He had work tonight, but we pre-recorded yesterday, and that's on Spotify. You can find that on the Cleve and Me Twitter page, which you hope we like. Obviously, if you're watching now, please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff for us. Goons here talking wrestling as we continue down, as we get towards the midway point. Wow, we're already coming up almost in an hour here, guys. I promise not to keep too much longer than that. I really appreciate us.
That's fine. AEW ain't on right now, so
we got to, hey, we're taking the people up until Dynamite, as we like to say. Marcel, you went Bianca Belair. That was very creative because I should have, in terms of men just going with Cody Rhodes, I should have put a better spin on things. I really like where your thoughts is on there. Because if I was going to give my woman's prediction, the favorite is Rhea Ripley on a lot of the boards right now. I don't want to go there, even though I think she's deserving. I don't have a problem with Rhea Ripley, but I'm going to go with somebody who, I don't know why they don't get the TV time. I don't know what's going on.
How many women have been announced so far?
In terms of women, I have a list somewhere. Let me get more up. I believe it is 15 women as well who have been announced. Off the top of my head, it's not many that I can think of, but I know Liv Morgan was the first. I'll get that page up while I jibber jabber here, but I'm going to go with Asuka. She's not listed at this Rumble right now. She doesn't have a lot going on, but she's one of the best in-ring superstars. I know some people find her annoying on the mic, but that's not always to her own chagrin. But let's get her back on top and get her in the mix, because I know I see some Bailey predictions, other things. I don't mind Damage Control, but I don't really need to see them keep going back at it. I'm going to give a wild prediction and go with Asuka at this point in time as we speak. Tones, I'm trying to find the Royal Rumble entrance for the woman right now. Before I get to that, though, Tones, we can do this real quick.
I have my Rumble winner.
Oh, if you already have your Royal Rumble winner, hit me with it.
It's outside the box, and she just got shown the door. But I'm going to say, what if Mandy Rose comes back to the Royal Rumble and wins it, and this is all just some part of crazy little storyline to act like she's written off, and then next thing you know, how big of a pop would that get? I mean, clapping wise, guys. I mean, getting excited wise, not pop somewhere. But how excited would people be to see that? I mean, and think about creatives and that then, whether it was real, they fired her, or whether it was fabrication, they fired her or whatnot. Imagine that. That'd be quite the storyline. So I know it probably has about a 1, maybe less than 1% chance of happening. I'd love to see Mandy Rose come back and silence the haters and win that, because she's married to a great guy, or engaged at least to Tino Pistichelli, and he used to be a Buccaneers safety on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, actually. Sabby Pistichelli, and former NXT superstar as well. So I hope they get some good karma coming their way, and I hope that starts with Mandy Rose at the very least making her way at the Rumble, but if not, winning the Rumble. I'd love to see it.
Just like, Marcelo, Bianchi, you at Mandy, man, your guys' creativity is blowing mine out of the water. I don't know if it's my head cold or what, but I need to get on your guys' page and get.
Well, I hope you don't have a cold,
With this, it's pretty much gone. But the creativity of you guys is really what I like to hear and what I like to see. Okay, I posted our men's winners. I posted our women's winners. We have a lot of good people in there. Now what I want to do is let's go with the surprises. We get a lot of old timers. We get people like Tone said who have gotten fired and come back. We get a lot. There's one thing I like. They didn't announce all these people. They announced 15 on one side, 15 on the other. So we have 30 chances to see whoever the heck we want. For example, I'm going to start here and give a couple that I think, and it's husband and wife. I think we're going to get Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Yes, we'll be getting them.
Right? Exactly. So,
are we going to get Beth in the men's or women's though? Because she's joined the men's before. Let's not forget.
And there's been a couple women who joined the men's before, wasn't it? Nia
Karma.
Jax? Yep.
Yeah, her name in TNA she was Awesome Kong, but in WWE she was Karma. I think she joined the men's, or was that I want to say it was the men's, right?
There has definitely been a few, and I'm looking that up as we speak. So I'm going to go. It's not the sexiest pick, but when Edge made the Royal Rumble pop a couple years ago, that was a tear-jerking top moment of many people's careers that he was able to come back from that neck injury. He's going to retire soon. He said it. Judgment Day, he's not fully done with that whole thing yet as he started it and it's going to break down. So that's why I'm going with Edge. And Beth Phoenix usually helps him out in a time of need. So I don't know if we're loving or hating that, but Marcel, where are you going in terms of a surprise entrant that you see in coming into the Rumble?
Well, they keep saying that he's not showing up. More than likely, Rock gonna be in there.
Yeah,
I do believe Austin will be in there because they're not just throwing their names out for no reason. So I do believe both Rock and Austin will be in the Royal Rumble. I know that for sure. Everybody else, I don't know. I'm just gonna watch to see who pulls up. And then, like I said, for the women's side, Beth Phoenix for sure. I believe Lita and Trisha signed in. They're gonna pull up. I think even with the Bellas going off, I think they might pull up as well. You might get what's my girl name? Starts with a J. And she was from the Attitude Era. She always had a cowboy hat on. I can't think of her name.
Oh, right Mickey now. James?
No, not Mickey James. Black girl. I can't think of her name right now. She went in the Hall of Fame a couple years ago.
I'm embarrassed. I'm fumbling up.
She went in. She went in a couple years ago. Is it Jackie?
Jackie. Yep.
Yeah.
Jackie. That's 100% it.
Mm-hmm.
And you said a lot of great names. Nobody's mentioned my guy John Cena yet. I hope he shows up.
John will be in. That's right. How the heck we forget John? Yeah, John will be in there too. Yes, yep. John will be in there too.
Tell him, give me something juicy.
I got a couple good ones on my list, and we'll see if they're possible or not. But okay, if we're naming couples, I'm gonna one up you on a couple. I'm going to go with a little bit Booker T and Charmel action, perhaps.
Yeah. Wow.
I've heard rumblings of Booker T trying to get back into wrestling shape for quote-unquote one last match, yada, yada, yada. Could it be the Rumble? And Charmel, she's a WWE Hall of Famer now, and we know when you're a WWE Hall of Famer, you make sporadic appearances from time to time. The Women's Rumble is always trying to reach for those legendary women more so, whatever reason that might be. So I could see Charmel and Booker T in terms of couples. Here's another couple outside the box idea. I'm not really sure. Haven't done the research. Unaware of their contract situation. But Lana and Rusev, I've heard they were displeasured in AEW. I'm not really sure. I know WWE is a 90-day non-compete clause. I don't believe AEW gives that to their stars. I think once they're released or once their contract's up, they're able to do whatever. So will that be possible? I'm not really sure. We'll see. One other name I like for the women's, I guess you could call it two names, but it's one team. The Iconics. What happened to the Iconics, right? And where have they been? Where the hell have the Iconics been? At one point, they were one of the hottest commodities in women's wrestling, and now it's almost like what happened. So they could factor them into something incredibly cool. And then a name we haven't mentioned yet, and I don't know, I'm going to share a little factoid about this guy that you guys might not have known, but I'm going to go with, what's a good old-fashioned Rumble appearance without Hornswoggle? And I know a lot of people get mad at the Hornswoggle thing, but fun fact with Hornswoggle, he was actually airing a role to be a part of a WWE pay-per-view. The last time he was back, it was supposed to be at Backlash 2020. He taped a match, and he had involvement in the Street Profits and Vikings Raiders match. Hornswoggle's part never aired that day, and that was in COVID. That was in 2020. They never put little Hornswoggle on the air for whatever reason. So it's been rumored that WWE owes Hornswoggle one more paid programming performance. What a better time to bring the mini guy back than a Royal Rumble? And hey, he would never win, but he always adds for something cool, whether he hides under the ring. He chased Zelina Vega around the Women's Rumble a couple of years back. Whenever Hornswoggle's around, something crazy happens or I'm laughing my ass off. So some might view it a waste of a spot, but I'd view it as a laughing moment opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we get our great moments, whether it's an accident like Titus O'Neil when he tripped under at the Greatest Royal Rumble, or, Kofi, how he always jumps, not a funny moment, but how Kofi always gets very creative and jumps around.
That's why he in this one, because they trying to come up with a way on how to keep you from getting eliminated. So you're absolutely right, Joe.
Was it last year or two? Didn't they botch one of his recently?
They did. They absolutely did. I forgot what happened, but you're right. You're right.
I think it was 2 years ago.
And I forget what happened exactly as well, but I just remember the crowd being like, oh, bleep.
Yeah, because, Kofi's just so good in the ring. Like, that's why I brought up Ricochet's, and these guys that are so good in the ring, you can get creative with and do many things. That's why when Brock Lesnar was throwing people out left and right, even though I get the reasoning behind it, people were not a big fan of that because these Royal Rumbles are so creative. You have 30 people, usually about 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in the ring at once. You can't get stale and you have to keep the ball rolling. So in terms of this show, I love where our creativity has been at to this point. So far, I mean, listen, folks, we brought you our men's Rumble winner. We brought you women's Rumble winner. We talked about the singles matches. We gave you our surprise men and women entrants that could be getting in there. Before I get into a little more, I gave a lot of men's statistics. I want to be fair and even here and give some women's statistics as well. Okay, boys, we're going to go with this and just shoot them as you please. For a woman, the longest time spent in a single Royal Rumble, the top 3 names, there's 5 names that have gotten 50 minutes or more in a Royal Rumble. Out of those 5, 3 are active WWE, and 2, one is AEW active, and one, I'll just say is Sasha Banks because she's just doing all her own thing. So I gave you guys 1 out of the 5. Now there's 3 that are still in WWE.
Ruby Soho.
She is not one of them.
Damn it.
But that is a good guess. Marcel, do you have a guess?
You said one is an AEW, right?
One is an AEW. And she hasn't had a title on AEW yet either.
That's how I was liking Ruby Soho for the AEW one, but maybe
Miss Ember Moon.
She's the Ring of Honor champion right now.
So, I'm glad I could have said, I'm glad you corrected me there because I see her so much on, not so much, but I've seen her a few times on AEW, and I know Tony Khan also has ROH. So you probably would have guessed that if I would have said it right. So thank you for the correction. I didn't even know she was the ROH champion right now.
Yeah, she won it at the pay-per-view that the FTR and the Briscoes had the dog collar match at.
Man, and like we said at the beginning, rest in peace and our condolences there. The 3 WWE names right now, the easy hint, 2 are champions, Bianca and Charlotte Flair. Bianca in 2021 is number 1. She lasted 56 minutes and 52 seconds. And Charlotte Flair comes in at number 5 at 50 minutes and 1 second. Now, number 2 on the list, she's been in WWE a very long time. She doesn't get a lot of title runs. And if I give this last hint, I'll totally give it away. But she's very good friends with a former UFC fighter who is now WWE.
Oh, Natalya.
Natalya is the last one. She actually came in at number 2 at 56 minutes and 1 second. Now when it comes to...
I feel like AJ Lee would be tremendous in the Rumble.
What I wonder, CM Punk and I know, has there been any rumblings on? I hate to get off track, but I know CM Punk's still under contract, but I just haven't heard diddly squat. And I wonder if he's just going to be
He
done.
been if he's been posting like crazy as of late. I believe he's coming back because it's just too much money to be made with this feud between him and the Elite. Because I think that's exactly where they're going. If he wasn't, as soon as the Elite came back, that's when Tony Khan should have said, "Yeah, we didn't bought our CM Punk's contract," but he didn't say nothing about buying anything because that's the media put that stuff out about TK possibly buying CM Punk's contract out. He didn't say nothing. They just said everything is good. We got the Elite back. CM Punk trying to get healed up or whatever. But I just feel like he on his way back. I'm not sure exactly when he'll be back, but I just got a feeling he coming back.
Tones, any quick thoughts to piggyback that off that?
No, I agree. I could very much so see him coming back, and I think I don't think AEW would let him go, given the storylines and the hype that he would bring with him. And whether you're booing him or cheering him, people want to see him. So AEW would be dumb to let him go, and he'd be dumb to leave AEW, quite frankly.
Yes, no doubt. And, for those who are going to be watching AEW Dynamite at the top of the hour, we have some really, really good things going on, as we'll have Darby Allin taking on Buddy Matthews. We'll have Brian Cage taking on Bryan Danielson. We'll have the Acclaimed and the Guns family therapy session. We'll also have Tony Storm versus Ruby Soho versus Dr. Britt Baker.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Joe. For some reason, they said Britt has been eliminated. We're not exactly sure what the issue is because Tony Schiavone had put a report out early this morning saying that Britt has been removed. I'm not even sure what that means. So
I've
right now, it's
seen reports too.
Yeah,
and that's always a little interesting when they do that. So I'm glad you brought that to the attention. But it's all going to obviously be headlined by Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Tones, we started the show by giving our condolences to Jay Briscoe. Before we get into our closing thoughts and who we think will get the most eliminations in this Royal Rumble, do you have any comments or thoughts or any memories of the Briscoe brothers, Jay Briscoe, or anything like that, or anything you want to say on the matter?
It's terrible. Way too young. Way too young. I mean, he was in his 30s, and that's right around where we're all at now. And honestly, I think that this is when you really got to sit back, and when you get in your car and you're thinking about picking up. I mean, he died in a car crash. Somebody hit him head on. Totally unacceptable. Next time you're in your car and you're thinking about picking up your phone, next time, and I don't know what caused it, what related it to it, yeah, whatever. Just be more cautious. We're losing too many people too young in this world already. Is stuff that is out of our control. Here, when you're driving, it's in your control, and it's terrible. And I know Tony Khan hit him deeply, but in terms of actually being a wrestler, I just had to get that mini PSA service announcement out because people need to be more aware in life of what they're doing. It could really help people out more. So, I mean, I know I went to college with a guy, a little bit unrelated story, drinking and driving incident. He ended up killing a guy. These things impact other people, and we lose people too young because of it. But in terms of actually in the ring, because that's what we're here for, you're not listening to Tones preach right now.
Preach your Tones, amen.
I'm gonna go outside the box here. And I know, Joey, we don't watch Impact Wrestling often. We watch it from time to time. Harder to watch nowadays than it used to be, but it's still wrestling.
Yeah, they don't make it as presentable. I could tell you that. Jeez.
When they made their debut in Impact Wrestling, it was really hyped up, and they fought the Good Brothers, and they didn't beat the Good Brothers necessarily, but they pushed them to their limits. This wasn't too long ago as well, so it was cool to see, because to me the Good Brothers are an incredible tag team with Gallows and Anderson, so it was really good to see those four guys put on that good of a match. I mean, holy crap, that was already almost a year ago now. Now. But time flies. That was May of last year. I want to say it was a night I think I boarded my cruise. So I think it was May 7th last year. They made their Impact debut at an Impact pay-per-view. I forget the Impact pay-per-view name, but the Briscoes faced the Good Brothers, put on a hell of a match, fell up just short, but memories like that to a wrestling fan last a lifetime.
Absolutely, and very well said there. Boys, man, we're really getting down to it. We broke down a lot of good stuff today. Let's go here, though. Let's go with who we think will get the most eliminations in this Rumble, because you always want to find fun ways. Predicting it sometimes can be easier said than done. Obviously, we named the favorites and who we thought, people like Cody Rhodes, people like Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. And then, there's a plethora of other people who have a chance. But there's also going to be most eliminations. And as we talked about earlier, overall, Kane has the most eliminations at a Rumble, but in all of them. But when it comes down to a single Rumble, Braun Strowman leads that list right now. Will he continue it? In the women's side of things, Shayna Baszler has 8 eliminations in a single Rumble. Bianca Belair has 8 in a single Rumble. Marcel, where are you going with your eliminations leader of Royal Rumble in the men's and women's?
I'm going to probably go with Cody, because that's what everybody's focusing on. So you just want to have Cody look the strongest. So he just probably be messing around eliminating everybody, unless they have him somewhere sleeping in the ring. Because y'all know how it is. This is somebody sleeping outside all day and then pop up in there. Or they have whoever you think is going to win be the one to eliminate most people that's in that match. So I'm going with Cody.
And to the point on that also, I could see a guy like Seth Rollins just kind of poo-pooing it on the outside for a good half hour of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tones, how about a guy for you who's going to get the most eliminations?
I'm going to go with Omos. And earlier we were talking about big guys, and I think that they're going to try and force a bigger guy role on him, and it takes place in this Rumble. They might not be the best eliminations. It might be a little bit uglier eliminations, but I think they're going for trying to build up Omos as a scarier big guy, so I'm going to go with Omos.
And hey, that is a great big guy who, isn't getting a lot of love right now in the scene, who can make a lot of things happen. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre because I don't really think he's going to win this Rumble. I think they're going to involve him in other ways. He's also won a Rumble more recently. And at the same time, he is a huge beast as well. He had a great moment with Lesnar when he was able to take him out back in the day and win that. So I think Drew McIntyre, maybe even Sheamus, who he partners up with, between those two guys, I think they could do a lot of damage on that side of things. So I'm going to go there. When it comes to the woman's side of things and who can get the most eliminations, I hate saying this. I don't even know if she's going to be there or what she's doing, but I'm going to go with Ronda Rousey. I think they're going to treat her kind of like, if she is in it, like Brock Lesnar, when Brock Lesnar threw everybody out and everyone was booing the crap out of it. I'm not saying it's going to be a fan favorite by any means. I was big on Ronda when she came in, not so much anymore because she just can't improve her mic skills to save her life, and that's very frustrating to me. But I'm going to go with Ronda Rousey on the women's side of things, getting the most elimination. Tones, let's say you.
Yeah, Rousey's not a bad one. Shayna Baszler crossed my mind, but I'm going to go a different route here. I'm not going to put it in terms of that, but let's see. I'm going to go with Doudrop. I think Doudrop, the monsters Doudrop, will come in and drop a little elbows on some peeps. I'm going with Doudrop.
And Marcelo, over to you.
I'm probably go if she does win, I'm gonna go with Rhea, because they've been prepping Rhea for something special right now. Like whatever she's doing in the Judgment Day is working. Yes. So I wouldn't be shocked if Rhea get the most eliminations. It wouldn't shock me at all.
Do you guys think Dominic joins the men's or women's after he lost his balls a while back?
Come on. Oh my goodness.
Listen, y'all, I'm ready to see how this storyline between him and Ray gonna play out, because everybody knows these two are gonna fight. We just don't know exactly what's gonna get Ray to tick, because Ray said he can do everything in his power to try to get him to fight him. He ain't fighting him, so it's gonna be something that's gonna get him to fight him at WrestleMania. We know that's
maybe it's in the Royal Rumble. Maybe they fight one-on-one in the middle of the ring, look at each other, and maybe that's where it sparks. But I think you said you envision them fighting at some point, correct?
Yeah, at WrestleMania. Oh, they definitely fight at WrestleMania. There's no question.
Which would, man, I completely forgot about that. So I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Tony Marcel, because I would love for the, if we need that to cap that storyline, just kind of like how we need The Rock to cap the storyline with Roman Reigns, I believe. I think you guys hit it on there. We're getting to it. We're about 20 minutes away from AEW. I want to get our closing comments. But also this, and then I know you guys got your own show, so I'm not here. I had you guys on. I want you to tell me what's coming up next because your guys' shows are way better than mine. So I just want you guys to be able to give us what's coming on for you guys lately. But also this, when you're living your closeout statement, we have been wrestling fans for so long. I don't care if the person you think of when I go through this is a realistic option or not. I want you to simply give me somebody more from your childhood who you're like, if he showed up at the Rumble, man, that would just bring the nostalgia factor. It could be somebody we already named, but anybody from watching wrestling as a kid to now, I don't care if they're in AEW right now. I don't care if they're in any other promotion. If you could pick one person that isn't already in the Rumble that you just truly want to be in there because it's a heartfelt thing, let me know. And for example, I'll start this off and throw one out of left field. I think it would be really cool if they let Chris Jericho into the Royal Rumble and let him do his break the walls down Y2J. I don't think that's coming this year. I think it will be before he retires one day down the line. But I think that would bring a lot of like wow into it. I think including myself, I missed hearing that song as great as Judas is. I would love to just hear, you want to break the wall. I just think that would just bring back a lot of good memories. And I know Tones would agree with that, that's probably his favorite superstar in all the industries. Tones, start with you. What do you got coming on your great shows, and who's your heartfelt, somebody you just want to see enter the Rumble?
Yeah, we've been in hiding after the wild card loss, but we'll be back to wrap up the season on the Buccaneers soon for the Buccaneers. I'm thinking Thursday, tomorrow, or Friday. No, not Friday. Thursday or Sunday. I'm sorry. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be doing a season closure episode. Then one person I'd really be heartfelt if they did make a Rumble appearance. And by the way, you could follow the Buccaneers at Buccaneers on Twitter, Buccaneers Pod on Instagram, Buccaneers Podcast on YouTube, and Buccaneers Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. But side note, one guy I'd have nostalgia with outside of Jericho if they did get to the Rumble, and I'm just thinking realistically here, but I kind of want to go outside the box as well. You know what would be epic? Just like here in Finley, my name is Finley, and I love to fight. Seeing him come down with the shillelagh in hand. Speaking to my Hornswoggle pick earlier, I think he still works for WWE in some sorts of capacity.
I think he had some involvement with the women, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, never say never.
No, never say never at all. And yes, like you said, go get Adam at Buccaneers as they'll be following the whole offseason and more. Marcel, what do you got coming up? And who's your heartfelt guy or lady you would love to see?
Well, tonight, since I'm at home, because normally I'm not home on Wednesdays, I'm out doing my ride show stuff. So I'm gonna be here as soon as Dynamite is done. I'm gonna come on and give my honest take about what I thought about on Dynamite or whatever. But we've been talking about him. If he does pull back up, I'll probably mark out Mr. Rock himself because that's my guy. Like I said, we go way back. I've been watching him since 1998, 99, and and when you hear that "If You Smell," I say, hey, let's go.
Finally,
The Rock has returned.
I'm telling you right now, I don't care. I'm saying this: if The Rock does show up Saturday, whether it's a tear of joy or whatever it is, there will be a tear coming down my cheek. I can promise you. I can guarantee. That's not a prediction.
That's what he used to say.
That's a spoiler for all of you fans out there. Honestly, guys, once again, thank you as always. This Royal Rumble show has been awesome. If you followed in the comments, if you've been watching, liking, subscribing, we gave all our men's, winners, women's winners, surprise entrants. We also talked about who we would just love to see join this Royal Rumble match. We also, talked a little bit about AEW tonight in our shout out to the Briscoe brothers, especially Jay and his family. If you haven't already, go at Cleve and Me on Twitter, follow us. This show's going to be reposted a million times now until then. We're also going to be reposting Cleveland's predictions as he is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radiocast, all that stuff. You can find, just type in at Cleve and Me, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, anything, you name it, you can get Cleveland's predictions there. But boys, this is going to be a great one. I can't wait for Saturday. I'm going to be looking for your tweets. I'm going to be messaging you on the side, Marcel Tones. I'll be with you as we're going to be having a little hoorah party for it. Boys, before we get out of here, did I miss anything at all or anything we want to mention about the Royal Rumble before we leave here tonight?
We talked about who winning the match between Roman and KO, right?
Yeah,
even though we all know who win it, but it's how the heck we gonna get to the result.
Okay, if you're asking me how the result goes down,
because we know Reigns is winning, it's just how the heck we gonna get to that. That's the question.
Tones, I mean, I'm trying to think right now. I'm trying to get creative. I almost think something's going to happen where maybe one of the Uso brothers makes a mistake and then one helps them out. I'm not really sure how they got to get creative when it comes down to it, though, because what I think they're going to do is I think they're going to have Kevin Owens look like he's getting beaten and battered most of the match. And then Sami Zayn's going to give a little turn, and we're going to all start to be on KO's side. We're going to think he's going to win. He's going to win. He's going to win. And then I think Sami Zayn's going to regret his decision and then help out Roman like he did at War Games. So I think Sami's going to turn, and he's going to try to help KO. And then for some reason at the end, he's going to be the factor who helps Roman win. And that's what I think starts the travel of Sami getting out, because once you turn on Roman, you ain't getting back in the picture. So I see Sami Zayn helping out both people. Tones, anything from you?
I see it playing out like a classic Bloodline win, a slimy one, but a long, good match between KO and Roman. And then after the match, I see the Bloodline trying to jump KO, and then Sami Zayn being faced in an ultimatum. And I think that's when he steps up and he gets his ass beat this time, but he'll be set up in the future.
Well, there you had it, boys. For Marcel, for Tones, for myself, thank you to all the ladies and gentlemen that have listened, for Cleve and Me especially, and on behalf of Cleveland. God bless, good night, and everybody stay safe. And thank you for joining Cleve and Me Royal Rumble Preview and Prediction Show.
Take it easy, Marcel.
All right, Tone. All right, Joe. You guys be blessed.
God bless, good night, and enjoy AEW, everybody.
All right.
WWE Hall of Famer Pat Patterson's vision in 1988 created a legacy of some of the most iconic moments in sports entertainment history.
Throwback entire star of WrestleMania. Hulk Hogan of the Warrior. 1-on-1. AJ Styles is here. Finally, The Rock is going to WrestleMania.
You think you know me?
You gotta be kidding me. It's been 9 long years. Edge is back.
Since its inception, there have been 1,000